Hello. So, I want to talk about something I saw, and I want to share it. I can keep it to myself, but this one I feel like saying out loud, and I feel like pressing record. Uh, anyway, I want to talk about a symbol I saw, and the reason I feel like I might have seen this symbol because I was trying to work on getting back to a place of non-duality. Okay, a place of non-duality. Because non-duality is what caused us to be in this type of simulation, virtual reality. And then we got sucked down further and further and further into deep simulations to the point where now it's hard to even think about trying to get back anywhere. Or some of us do, but it's just hard to even imagine it. For some people, just can't even imagine it. That's why that's why you have to cut so many people off, because like you can't even have this conversation with so many people. That's how, when you can't have this kind of conversation with people, that shows how deep in simulations we have gone. That goes how far away they are from their original mind. They can't even get what you're saying. Like, they really feel like this is something they have to deal with what they see right now. But I want to talk about something. So as I was just thinking about getting back to that place of non-duality, I saw a symbol, and it was the Nazi symbol. It was the Nazi symbol. And I feel like I saw that because I was just listening to somebody who was talking about the Adam and Eve. Now, he's not a Bible person either. But like I said, when I talk about the Bible myself, the Bible is actually describing something that has happened, but it's a way to break it down esoterically. Okay? So he sees the Bible kind of esoterically too, not in a sense of just physical people all the time, like every single character you see has to be physical. That is not the way he sees it either. So, he was talking about the whole Adam and Eve, and the knowledge of good and evil is the reason for this duality that people are in right now, that we are in. This duality that our current perception, a lot of our current perceptions are still in. Duality. And for him, the way he saw it, and I think what happens is with certain types of knowledge that you gain, you start to see scriptures a little different in the Bible, because I've done that for myself too. And so with the knowledge that he has gained over the years, he started to see the Adam and Eve story a little differently. And so he felt like they took from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Well, that has to do with polarities, right? I think I heard somebody else say it before. That's about polarities. And really, it's not so much about the genders of Adam and Eve, but really it's about how humans, or the mind, fell into polarity, fell into duality, and then fell into like this simulation, and going further into different simulations, okay? And fell from the real prime, what he called the prime earth, okay? What he called the real reality, okay? Now that is, so he says, so basically fell down further into frequencies, fell further into frequencies. And I'm going to say, if I can remember, I'm going to say something else after I finish this. So, but anyway, so, as I was listening to him, I just kind of saw this symbol, I had my eyes closed for a second, and I saw this symbol, and it was a Nazi symbol. And then that let me know that I asked the question, are those the ones that's kind of running things? Are those the ones that's currently controlling what you call consciousness? And I believe the answer is yes. The Nazis, whatever the Nazis look like, the Nazis are the ones that's controlling consciousness. And the reason why I've kind of figured that is because when I'm still subscribed to this guy's channel, but I'm no longer on his Zooms and all that stuff. He's Asian guy, but he's like kind of I guess like a super soldier. Well, he's not like a super soldier. He is a super soldier. Like he's trying to get his own super soldier crew. Okay, he's gathering his own super crew, his own super soldier crew. Okay, and so I already know that he is AI because I've just seen it, not because I'm judging him in any kind of way. Because number one, he said it, and I've seen it. Okay, I've seen it in the spiritual. I've seen that he is like a machine. But he has feelings. He got married before. He has children. So I mean, but he talked about how China, United States, and a lot of these other powerful countries, a lot of these powerful natures. Oh my goodness, well, nature is powerful, isn't it? I wonder why nature came up. I might need to come back to that. But all of these other powerful nations are under the rulership of the Nazis. They have all of them, no matter how powerful they are, whether it's China, whether it's United States, whether it's whoever, Russia, whoever it is, they are under the rule of the Nazis. So the Nazis are the ones that's controlling consciousness in this in duality, in these simulations. It's the Nazis. Okay? I just wanted to say that though. I want to get back to, now this was a Caucasian man that was talking about this though, the whole fall and all that stuff. Yeah, the Caucasians, it was a fall for them too, because even with their creation, they were above the simulation. It was a time, it was more like, for them it was called the golden period or something like that. That's what it was called for them. Now for some of us who have souls that existed before the whole holographic world and everything was created, and before the actual, what you would call Earth was created, what we come from is something completely different. So some of us have to figure out where we even came from before the planet was destroyed, because a lot of them were created inside of like the holographic world. They were like created inside of by other beings. Okay, they were created by other beings that might have looked human, could have looked like men, so they were created too, but they still remember what this guy's describing. Sounds like to me like the golden age could be something that he was describing, or a time where there wasn't duality. It was a time where people more were on a love frequency, and so they do remember that particular time. They were there. Some of us were way before that, before the whole thing was even created, But yeah, I was just, the main thing I wanted to say though, oh yeah, let me get back to nature, because that word came up. I don't know. When nature is actually the supreme being. So nature came up because nature is the supreme being. That's why. Nature, real nature, not necessarily just going out and just living there, but real nature. Like nature has to be in your heart almost. Nature is the supreme being. Nature is the supreme being. Okay? So that seems like that word wants to come up to me a couple of times, so I don't forget to say it. Nature is the supreme being. I see why. Because thinking about getting back to one, getting out of duality. Nature, but not necessarily just going to live in nature. That's fine to go live in nature. I don't see anything wrong with living in nature, but nature needs to be inside of you too. And some people might live in nature and nature is not necessarily in them. Okay, meaning their mind still might be in the world. Because let me tell you something about nature, and really being about nature and being on the vibration of nature for real. When I get a little confused when I see people that's living it up in nature and bragging on their seeds and stuff, and I don't have nothing against that. I'm not hating on them. What I'm trying to say is this. I ain't trying to say it. What I'm saying is this. Why are they caught up in the news? I'm not even caught up in the news, and I'm kind of in the city. Now, I'm not in a big city because I don't want to be in a big city, but I'm kind of in the city. And I don't even watch the news. I don't even look at what all these folks saying on YouTube. I don't even care about all these celebrities. But you got folks that live in the woods, up in nature, talking about their seeds and what they planting. And they up in the trees with their gardens. Well, why they care about what's on CNN? Because whatever is on CNN, half of the time ain't going to affect them no way. So they are not about nature. They are not about nature. They might live in nature. You know how they say live in the world but not be of the world? Some people are of the world, and some people live in nature, but they're not of nature. So the point is to be of nature. Not just live in nature, but be of nature. Nature is the ultimate frequency. It's the ultimate vibration. Nature is the answer for me. Nature is an answer. But not necessarily. It's good to live there if you can get away from the city and get away from a lot of people. I don't always need that as long as it's not a bunch of rules that's pushed in a particular area. You know how they're trying to push all mandates and rules. If they try to do that, then it's best to get away from that area because it's going to be hard to change what's already been established. Because whatever you see in a city that's going on has already been established in the spiritual world because it happened in the spiritual world first. And so when you get to a city and you see that's happening, it's going to be hard to undo it because it's already been done in the spiritual. And you're just seeing it in I guess you call real time. Yeah, so it's hard to undo stuff like that, especially when you have a group consciousness that goes along with anything and very few people that don't agree with it. It's going to be hard to get around that. So sometimes for some people it's best to go into places like nature to get away from that type of group consciousness that holds other people down that don't want to be held down. Sometimes that's a good idea. But for the most part, well, nature. See, that was the answer for me. And see, had I not clicked on this video and started talking, nature would not have come up like that. This is why I click on and just start talking. And it's like, specifically, I have to talk to an audience. And I think I have to talk to an audience because other people are going to listen. And it could be somebody who's listening that, I don't know, maybe other entities that could be working with them or you or whoever's listening could want you to get a certain message, and they may come to me as I'm talking to put a suggestion in me to get out and say it out loud for whoever they trying to get to hear it. This is what they do with some of the biggest people with the biggest platforms. Those people may have access to a lot of information that they might not have known before because of such a big audience. You never know who might need to hear. They get the information that that folks need to hear that they might not have necessarily had they just been to themselves. I would never say it nature until I click record. And maybe I know I need to hear it, but maybe something that came through for me to say it out loud for other folks to hear it. You see? Oh, but anyway, yeah. But the whole point was to talk about Nazis. Nazis are the ones that's controlling consciousness. Whoever they look like, whatever they look like, I don't know. Now, I know we've seen what Nazis might look like as some of the so-called human beings that we think we've seen before. I don't know what Nazis really look like. Okay? I don't know what Nazis really look like. I will say that some people talk about reptilians. Well, let me tell you something. All reptilians are not the same. I don't like the way I hear some people just say the reptilians as if you just demonize reptilians. No, there's a certain group of reptilians that are very evil, and yes, a lot of us, we do have a reptilian brain. That's that fight or flight, that survival type of brain. We do have that type of brain, but not all reptilians are the same. That's like saying all humans are the same. You know, that's like saying like you have a particular, and you say they're all the same. They all do this, they all do that. That's like saying all dogs are like Chihuahuas, or all dogs are like pit bulls. But you have golden retrievers, you have all different, you have Rottweilers, you have Doberman Pinschers, and they all have their different kind of ways of doing things, different kind of ways of thinking, the way they're trained, the way they built. And so, yeah, I will agree that there are a group of reptilians. I've seen one in the spiritual realm, and so I know that for sure. And sometimes I can see things because of I'm an avatar. Like, these are avatars we have, so we're something else. A lot of us are something else. So I can see things because of what I am. But yeah, I've seen a reptilian that's doing it, and it don't bother me to see a reptilian because I'm aware that not all reptilians are the same. Just like not all people are the same, right? So it don't bother me to say a reptilian. But some folks, because they don't have any knowledge of reptilians, they demonize all of them. But yeah, that's it. Consciousness is controlled by the Nazis. The Nazis are doing all this. The Nazis are behind it. The Nazis. But then in the word nature, when I was trying to say nations, no matter how powerful the nations are, I said nature. I don't even want to call it a mistake because I don't believe it was a mistake. I said powerful, no matter how powerful the nature. So wait a minute, nature. Okay? And becoming one with nature is just for some of us to get back into those higher frequencies before duality. Okay, but that's not the end for a lot of us. That could be the end for some people who didn't exist before that. There's some people that didn't exist before that. That could be the end for them, but it's not the end for some other people whose souls existed way before. That could be billions of years old. That's not the end for them. Okay, but anyway, that'll be it, and I'll talk later.